Hey, Bachelors. So, as you probably seen already, I just did an interview with Kissy Face 454, and we talked about our first anal experiences. And yes, that was kind of awkward, but it is a discussion that I think everybody needs to have if they're considering trying anal sex for the first time. So, I decided to do a separate video on my own, and I just wanted to give you guys a few tips and suggestions if you are thinking about trying anal intercourse. So, my first tip is to relax. There are breathing techniques that you can use to loosen the anal sphincter. Basically, you breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. And when you breathe out, you should feel a little bit of a release of tension in that area. When you release, that is a great time to go ahead and try and ease into the anus. So that's the first tip. And it's definitely one of the best tips that I have because the anus is an involuntary muscle. It does what it wants when it wants, pretty much. And it's supposed to be for exit and not so much for entry. So when you finally learn how to control that muscle, it makes anal sex a lot easier and a much better experience. The second tip I have is to use condoms. The reason why I suggest this is because the condom already comes with its own lubricant, and that will help you to ease into the anus with a lot less friction than if you try to do it on skin to skin contact. That's kind of something that you leave to the pros, so to speak. Using a condom, whether it's a latex or non latex condom, is definitely a great suggestion, especially because it helps you reduce the instances of infection. It also makes sure that you are protected against any sort of STDs that the person may have, may or may not have. You know, can never be too safe. And also, it's just a safer practice. The third suggestion I have is lubricant. And I can't stress lubricant enough. The anus does not produce as much moisture or wetness as the vagina. It does have its own kind of lubricant that we can talk about at another time, but it doesn't come as readily, especially when you're doing it for the first time. So I definitely suggest a lubricant. I really suggest a water based lubricant because if you are using condoms, silicone based lubricant does not work well with condoms, first of all. And second of all, a water based lubricant tends to be more smooth, it has more of a silky feel to it. What I have here with me is Revelation, and that is a Passion Parties lubricant. It is a personal lubricant and it is water based. It's definitely got a smooth texture to it. If you can see it on my finger there, it's pretty much doesn't have that sticky feel to it. It's very smooth and it lasts for a really long time. A little bit goes a long way with the Revelation lubricant. And I'm just gonna keep rubbing. By the time I'm finished with this video, it'll still be on. It's really smooth, as you can see, and you can pretty much go all night with this. So I definitely suggest using a lubricant as much as you want. You can start off with a dollop, try and ease it in. If it's still uncomfortable, try using a little bit of more lubricant. The more the better, the wetter the better, so to speak. And last but not least, take an enema. I know sometimes people talk against enemas. I'm not really sure in what context that is. If you're using it to lose weight, definitely don't do that. However, if you're using it to prepare yourself for anal intercourse, it's definitely a good idea. It clears out the passageway to make sure that there's no poop, no excrement in the anus when you're trying to perform. If you heard my horror story, you know that you can very much, very well crap yourself during anal, and that is very embarrassing. So I suggest trying an enema. I used a Fleet enema, but you can use anything. I think they sell them at the dollar store. Just make sure that you follow the directions on the box before you use it so that you know exactly what you're getting into. And I'm still rubbing, by the way. Definitely try the enema. Try and use it an hour or so before you do anal, and try not to eat within that time span. It'll make sure that there's nothing else in the chamber before you get started. Once again, if you have any other questions, please feel free to hit me up, vforvag@gmail.com. I'm on Instagram, Kimmy Lavag, Twitter, Kimmy Lavag, and you can also find me on Facebook, facebook.com/vforvagcom. And that's me, once again, signing out. I hope you guys found this video useful, and I'll see you again soon. Later, Vagsters.